Good afternoon, y'all. Hope you're doing all right. Today I'm going to go over pre-algebra. So I'm going to go over the syllabus that you got this week, and then I'm going to go through some of the example problems that we got from that. There is a review notes kind of vocab that's involved with that too. In the syllabus if you'd like to review that, but most of the material that we're doing this week is built on what we went over last week. So just kind of going through the syllabus here. From part one, we're going to have some review from scatter plots, and we'll go over to make sure to go over that. And if you are in Google Classroom, there are a few things that you can turn in that way instead of turning in the paper copies, so it's a little bit quicker for the turnaround. If you are using Google Classroom, the two things you can turn on, there's two quizzes. The first one is going to be the independent practice that is here. And then the next one, I'm sorry, for the AB review. So there's the practice, and then there's another practice that you can do for the mastery check is going to be the second quizzes. So the first one's from the review, independent practice, and then there's one that's with the mastery. Alright, and here. So today I have the guided practice up, and I felt like we could go through some of those. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit to see if that helps me. This will be fine. Okay, so with line of best fit, you want to try to have as many points above and below the line. So what I'm going to use here is I'm going to use my ruler tool. Let's see if I can do that. So I'm going to rotate this. We're trying to get as many points above as we are below. We have a couple of outliers, but let's see. It looks kind of like we're going kind of along those lines. This 2015, there was a little bit of a spike. Let's go ahead and plot that. See, this is just kind of, we're just trying to guess to see, give us a prediction off the other values too. So if we had a line, it would kind of look like that. Let me get rid of this to see if that looks okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 there. And so this would be somewhat of a good predictor for it. Again, you don't want something that's like way up here or going in the opposite direction. And then they wanted us, what is a reasonable estimate for the cost of advertising during the Super Bowl in 1997? So we've got our line here. So if we were to predict it for 1997, so here's 95, here's 2000, so somewhere in here, we could probably estimate that to be about 1.75 million. So 750,000. So 1,750,000, and the way I did that, so I had my line, and then based off the line, they wanted to know from 97, and 97's about here. So if I was to look, just to make a little plot right here, I'd want to know what the y value is there. So if I came over to my y-axis, I'd look, it's about halfway in between 2 million and 1.5 million. So we could easily estimate this to be about 1.75 million or 1,750,000. Now they want us to estimate the cost in 2025. So 2025 is a little bit off the board right now, right? So there's a couple of different things you could do. You could use 2 points to come up with a equation for a line. Or we could just kind of just draw this out just a little bit further. So each one of these is about 5. So if this went up another 5, it'd probably be out here. So you could estimate that to be about 3,750,000, I guess, as well. Maybe a little bit less than that. We'll just do about. But then we have like this outlier right here that's kind of throwing us off, so it could cause that to actually be much higher. So we gave it an estimate, but based off of how this goes, it could be much higher than that, so we're not 100% sure. Next one. So this is asking, what is the relationship? Let me scoot this up just a little bit. Is it better? Yeah, it's better. Okay, so what is the relationship within the set of data points? Is it positive, negative, or none? So we kind of have what type of trend. So as our X values, or as our years increase, what happens to our sales? It looks like they're going down, they're getting less. So that would be then a negative, a negative relationship, or a negative correlation, or a negative trend. So you could hear that is either a negative relationship, trend, or correlation. Sorry that kind of ran into the graph there. So if we were to, in what year do you predict sales to drop below 2 billion? So again, we're going to draw our line of best fits. This. I'd say about there, because I think this has thrown us off this, because it kind of bounces right here. So I'm going to go with that for our line of best fit. So if I was to draw that, something like that. So if we were to go below 2 million, and it's looking like it's dropping about 2 million every 2 years. So right here at 08, we'd probably be at 6 in 10, 4 in 12, and then 2 at 2014. So I would say about 2014. And why? Because sales are dropping $2 billion. So I'm saying 2 billion every 2 years. Alright. So the graph shows the number of years of education for a female and her annual earnings. So approximate how many years of education would you expect a female to be earning? 15,000 a year. to have, so 15,000. So let's draw our line first. Looking at this is about a positive trend, and I would say something along that. That would be about good, I think. Maybe like more like that. Let's use a little bit more brighter color. So we're gonna go ahead and just draw. Oops. Oops. Hopefully that didn't mess that up. All right. Go to that. So if we were to look at 15,000, so each one of these is in thousands, so 10,000, 15,000 is about half. So to help me with that, I could also use my ruler again. So let's make this 0. Oh, okay. Let's move that to about 15,000 is about here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different color to kind of go along and draw like a dotted line. So here's about $15,000 and it hits here. So now if I wanted to look at where that is for the X, so then I can draw a dotted line down, so boop. So if we were to look at this, it would be about 11 years. So we would be expecting about 11 years of education. So then they want us to estimate how much would you expect a female with 20 years of education to make. So then if we're using our ruler again, we're going to go all the way to 20. And I'm going to draw a line, 20 until it hits the graph. Just to show you this is at 20. So this is at 20. And then we're going to rotate this. So it's at 0 degrees, so we're going to go straight to the y-axis. Again, I'm going to use my ruler to kind of just guide me over there. So we're going to go boop, 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 boop. Okay, so looking at the line, so it's pretty close to 50,000, but not quite. It's it's above half of between 40 and 50, so we know it's over 45,000. So I would say about 48, between 48 and 47. So I would just go round up and say about $48,000 based off what the information they're giving us here, and that is a very poor dollar sign. So I'm gonna try it one more time. Oh my goodness. It's about 48,000 based off of where we got on the graph here. So based off of that. All right, let's try another one. So the Fall of American Idol is the name of this graph. They're asking us to estimate the Nielsen share for 2016. So the first thing we need to do is draw a trend line. Let's get our ruler. Say something along there, I guess. This little outlier right here kind of spikes it back up, but about there. Alright. So let's draw our line. I'm going to go with green this time. So again, when you're drawing your lines of best fit, it's best just to kind of estimate it. It's pretty good for this one. You don't want to go too far above or too far below. You don't want to make so this is obviously a negative trend because as our x values increase, our y values are going down. So you want to show that this is a negative trend. You would want to show a positive trend here. So, all right, so we got our trend line. Now it wants us to estimate for 2016. So if I was to keep this going, this drops about, let's look, does it hit anything quite on the money? So let's estimate, it goes down about, so in 2016, it'd be just a little bit low. So let's say close to 10. Close to 10, so I would say 10. There's about 10. So if the makers of American Idol had produced a second season in 2011, what do you think the Nielsen rating would have been? So if they had made another one based off this trend line, where would have hit? It would have hit about here, so their rating would have been about 22, because it's below half. It's below half, but above 20. So I'd say 22, 23. In fact, we'll go ahead and round up. We'll say about 23. Alright, next one. Whoa, this one has scatter plots, or has points all over the place. So this graph shows the age of 20 people and the number of pets they own. They ask us, what is the relationship between the data points? Is it positive, negative, or none? So is there any kind of correlation that's going on here? If you have dots all over the place, there's no real trend. Then we got to remember that is none. So that's no correlation, no trend, no relationship. So in your own words, describe the meaning of the graph and what conclusion can be made about the based off the graph. So if there's no trend, we can't really determine anything from the graph. So age and number of pets do not have a correlation. Do not have a correlation. Do not have relation or trend or relationship, so we wouldn't be able to guesstimate off the data. All right, one more. So they want us to estimate the number of people that will watch the Super Bowl in 2020 and justify our answer. So let's go ahead and draw a trend line. So looking at the data, it's going up and to the right, so that's a positive trend. So something like about there. So go ahead and draw, use green. Oh, there's my pen. just a little bit. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so if I was to guesstimate off of 2020, that's just shy of 120 million. So I would go ahead and say about 120 million. About 120 million. And how many people would you expect to watch in 1982? So if we looked at 1985, half would say about 83, so 82 is somewhere in here. So we can say about 68, because these are by 20 million. So I'd say about 68, because it's just under half. Then that would be 70 million. So I would say about 68 million. All right, so the big thing is to kind of practice with getting your trend lines, and it doesn't have to be, your answers may differ slightly because your trend line may be just off a bit more than mine. When you get to algebra, you'll be able to use your calculator, so you can actually do linear regressions, which is going to be able to give you the exact linear relationship of it or quadratic relationship, depending on if it's a curve or quadratic expression that you're going to use to graph the information. But you will not have to do that this year. You just kind of have to just use your best judgment on it. Try to get about the same above and then below. You can have your line go through some of the points that are already present. But again, you don't want your line to be well above, well below, or in the opposite orientation that the data is present. Hopefully this helps. I miss y'all. Hope you're doing well. If you have any questions, just let me know. Email me. Leave a comment or the like. And or when I mean the like, I mean like as in other things like that of that nature. So you can even contact me in Google Classroom as well. Hope you all are doing well. I miss y'all, and I'll talk to you later.